Aloha, women, and welcome to the Woman Unleashed online retreat. My name is Amber Quile Milani Benici, and I am your host for this retreat. I'm really excited that we're going to be spending this next time together to help you slow down, nurture yourself, align with what's most important to you, and then to take action from that space. Today is a special session. This is actually your you're creating your journal session, and this is going to be your container for you during our time together. So a couple of things before we get started. Materials. Make sure that you can be as simple as like any journal that you have lying around, in a pen, to some other things, which we're going to go over a little bit later. So don't worry about that. You can see underneath the video, there's some suggested materials, and we'll show you what some of those are. The other thing I'd like to do before we begin is just to kind of get present and to get here, to kind of bring all your energy that's scattered from who knows where throughout the day and to bring it to this moment. So get comfy in your chair. Close your eyes with me, and we're going to take 3 deep breaths together. Our first breath is going to be letting go of anything that's come before this point. So before this session, before you sat down, anything that's weighing on you that's happened before this time, I want you to inhale in and exhale and release that. Let it go. Our second breath is going to be about the future, anything that you're worried about that's pulling at you, that's coming up. I want you to take a deep breath in, exhale, and let that go. And our third breath is to inhale and smell this moment, this time together. Gathering all your energy. Exhale. And away we go. So today, I'm not here alone today. I'm here with Kat Geller. So if you've been a part of my retreats in the past, you know that I do the opening session. It's what I do. But this time I thought, you know what? I want to do something a little bit different. We're going to do like art journaling basics and then like art journaling 2.0, like all in one session. So if you're totally new, we've got you covered. If you've done art journaling, we got you covered. So we're hooking up everyone. Now, Kat Geller and I, we met years ago. We did our Color of Woman training through Shiloh Sophia, who is one of our sponsors, the Intentional Creativity Foundation. Kat is like jumped into this beautiful art world. She's the founder of Streetlight People and the creator of Cosmic Smashbooking, which you're going to see some of that today. She is brilliant. Everything that I've learned about art journaling, well, almost everything I've learned about art journaling, I've learned from Kat. So, Kat, welcome. So happy to have you here. Welcome.
Thank you. It's so good to be here. I just am so excited to, that what you're doing and creating a retreat during the summer or winter, depending on where you're from, and just how, invigorating and relaxing that is.
Mm-hmm. You betcha. So today, when I talked about the journal, a couple pieces. One is I want you to think of this journal as a container that you're going to watch different sessions from presenters. And what I really want is for you not just to like watch it and then to go on to your day or just to go on with life, for it to just move along. But I want you to watch it and then make some changes, take some action. And one of the ways you can do that is to have a space for all this yummy information, all of your ahas, all of your creative juices to go in one spot. And so that's part of the reason why we've created this container. The other piece is we work, there's a reason you join the retreat. So each person has a different one. For you, it could be that you wanted to slow down a little bit, that you want to tune more into that feminine side. It could be that you just need to chill out, you want to have some fun with your girlfriends, and this looks like something kind of interesting to do. It could be that you are a creative and you just want to kind of be more in your creative juices. lots and lots of reasons why people join, and each one is unique and individual. And so this part of it too is it's like when you come with your reason for coming, your intention for being here, it's an anchor for you. It's what it helps you do is it helps you kind of clear away what the unimportant things and focus on what's most important. And so if you come with your intention and let it be whatever it is for you, we're going to actually go more into intention on the opening session together. But just for today, knowing like, okay, there's a reason I came, and it might be to chill out, might be to have some fun, and that your journal is going to be like your vehicle for that. It's going to be the way for you to reach that intention. Okay? So that's the first piece. Now I'm going to go ahead and start us off. Well, first, I'm going to take a sip of tea from Yoda. What do you do? What do you got? You got your white cup of purity and yes, Cat the cat. Cat Z. All right, so I'm just going to run through some materials, basic stuff, all the way to even not so basic stuff. Like I mentioned earlier, any journal, you can use lined, unlined, you can use a composition book, you can use some art, like actual kind of art journalings that you find, mixed media journals. You can use just something you had lying around. Anything's good in that department. Pens are great. I always like to use, colored, oops, I've got hair in there, excuse me, my hair. I like to use markers. So you can have markers, it can be as simple as Crayola markers, you can have colored pencils, crayons, anything to kind of add some color to your journal, as well as paint, watercolor paints if you have that, acrylic paints. You go gangbusters, go with whatever you want to do. I also recommend glue stick, scissors. You can have like magazines lying around with things that you might rip out. We have the most important thing of all, which is glitter. Glitter is important. And for today, with some of the things I'm going to show you, also some yarn, ribbon. Optional is also this here, some gesso. Optional, I'll show you how to use it. You can decide if you want to work with it. And if you need some heavy duty glue, we got some rubber cement. Oh, it's kind of shiny there. Here we go, rubber cement. Don't smell this stuff, okay? It gets a little crazy, Okay, so I'm going to show you just a couple things to do to reinforce whatever you have, whatever you're going to work with, okay? I'm going to show you some basics. Kat's going to take it up a level, okay? So here we go. First thing, I'm going to move this back a bit. Where is my... Hold on. I've got some yarn. I don't have it with me in the moment. So you can use yarn or ribbon. See, you can see I've got some yarn, I've got some ribbons. And this is just a composition book, like one of those cheapo composition books that you can get for 99 cents. And what happens is that, have you ever had like your pages fall out of your journals, like they ripped out and you're like, oh man, bummer, right? So we don't want that to happen. We don't want things to fall apart, especially once you start like really getting into it, it gets poofy and there's stuff in there. We don't want to lose bits and pieces of it. And so we want to reinforce your binding. So you can take yarn or ribbon and simply tie it around the binding. So like every 20 pages or so, you're going to take it, show you this one. You're going to put it right through the middle, around the back, and tie at the top. And just do that every 20 pages. And that's going to make it so that your book doesn't fall apart. Yes, for reinforcing binding. I learned this from Kat. Okay. The next thing I want to talk about is if you're not using a sturdier art journal, the way to make sure that your stuff is sturdy enough for you to do kind of whatever is to glue pages together. So for example, if you're working with something, it's cheap, it's flimsy, and you want to paint on it, just glue 2 pages together, 3 pages together. I'll show you this one here. Maybe your markers might be bleeding through and you're like, oh, my markers are bleeding through. See, here's my markers are bleeding through on this side. So I just glue it to the next page. Thickens it up a bit. Also, if I'm doing anything with paint or water, and if you're working with regular paper, it gets kind of like wonky and flimsy. And if you put lots of water on, it will get kind of shredded. So just glue a few pages together, throw your glue stick, thicken that thing up, and you're good. The next piece that I'm going to talk about as far as like souping up whatever journal you have, souping up our journals, is using some gesso. Voila. So this you can find at any craft store. And what you're going to do is, it's kind of like white paint, or they do it in all different colors actually. But what it does is it seals and it stiffens the page and it gives it tooth. It gives it like some texture. So when you're painting or drawing on top of it, then it's not going to be so slippery. Yeah. So you just take a little of this, and it can be as simple as just squirting it on the page, painting it on, letting it dry, and you've got something to paint on top of. Now, if your journal is lined, if your journal has lines in it and you don't want the lines to show, you can use gesso. You can also just take a plain white piece of paper and like paste it on. Easy, 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 easy. So the next thing is decorating the cover, right? So you've reinforced your journal. It's not going to fall apart. Now you want to decorate it with beauty. Now you can choose however you want to decorate it. Sometimes I will decorate the front part of my journal at the beginning of my journey, and then the back part at the end. That's kind of fun because I can see the transition. Sometimes I just do the whole thing. So you can do anything from collage. Just cut out some magazines, paste them on. Let's see here. Here's some collage I did. This was actually it's like actually little prayer flags I glued on here with my marker. And this one I actually pasted watercolor paper on the front of my cover, and then I painted my lady, and she's got like lots of glitter. See how glittery she is? Because I use glitter Mod Podge. That's why. You know about glitter Mod Podge. But yeah, you can do something as simple. This is the inside, but you can do something as simple as just even, pulling out some things from magazines and gluing them on the front. If you want, you can use some more of, some of that gesso that I showed you. Just paint it on the front of your journal and then decorate on front of that. The only limits are whatever you place on yourself. So have fun. If you don't like it, you can always rip it off and start again. Right? Super simple. Okay, now I'm gonna bring you down. I'm gonna bring you down. So I'm gonna show you some ideas on ways to use your journal while we are working together, right? So we're gonna be sitting here, you're gonna be doing the session, and what I want you to do is I want you to use both sides of your brain, right? I want you to use your right side of the brain and your left side of the brain, because if you're using both sides of your brain, you can learn faster, you can retain stuff more, you're gonna have more fun, you're able to go back later and look at your notes and actually get what you were talking about. Instead of just seeing a bunch of written things, you'll be able to it's like a picture, it's an image. I'll show you what I'm talking about. But this is the reason why I want you to do that, is because, like I said, I want you to retain what we're learning, okay? So come on down, I'm gonna bring you up. I'm gonna bring you up here. Then I'm gonna bring you down here. Okay. So first piece, something easy that we can do. I'm going to show you just by using some paint, some watercolor paint or some acrylic paint, that you can just put color on your page. You can use markers, you can use colored pencils. I'm just going to squirt some paint right directly on my thing. Wah! Use paintbrush. And another method I've been shown by Kat, which I love, is to use the full spread of the journal. So you don't just stick on one side, you use the whole thing. Okay, voila, how cool is that? I've got like this yellow, crazy looking background, and that was simple. And now it's waiting for my notes, ready for me to take notes on top of it. So do whatever you want to do to create some background. The other thing you can do is you can create borders really easily using markers, paint. Here we go. I'm going to show you simple. Oh, look at line, dot, line, dot, line, dot, line, line, dot, line, dot. See? How fun is that? You've got like this beautiful boundary now for your thing. You can also, if you're taking notes, you can put boxes and write things on the inside. Or you can do lines and write things inside. You can do doodles. You can do flowers. Thinking about like finding little areas that you can put your information in. You're creating like it's a container in a container, right? So the next thing I'm going to show you is writing, how to use different types of writing. And this I was shown by Shiloh Sophia, who is one of my teachers and mentors of love with the Intentional Creativity Foundation. She'll be on one of our other sessions. And the thing about note-taking that's really cool is instead of just taking notes with a pen, one simple thing you can do is to just adjust your font size and the type of font you use. So I'm writing upside down because I'm cool like that and I can do that. Here we go. I'm going to do this one. S H, ooh. She. Oh, so pretty, she. But she can also be she. Right? You can also just even elongate, right? So you can make your S like super fat. Right? You can do dots. And you can use all different colors of pens to take notes. So you could then maybe take your bullet points down here using a different color. Yeah. So this is one simple, easy way to do it, is to create your background, play with your fonts, and then the last piece is about putting in symbols and images. Now, I might be speaking, and let's say I talk about filling up your cup, or somebody talks about it's important to fill up your cup. Easy thing to do is just to draw a cup, because you're going to remember that. Here's my cup. And then I might write underneath it, fill my cup. And now I've got that reminder to fill my cup. So simple, right? And the last piece that I'm going to talk about is glow. Now I like to create maybe a couple different things. Maybe I took a note about filling my cup and I talked about, I don't know, climbing mountains or something. I don't know. This is another technique from Shiloh Sophia. Gosh, we love her. Is you take that color then and you move it around your notes, but you leave the white spaces. So it makes it stand out. Ta-da! So I'm going to show you just a couple things and another art journal that I've done. So I can show you some note-taking I've done, and you can see examples. See, okay, so for example, this is like regular notes. Okay, I have no idea what that page is even about, just so you know. But then I have this page of notes. Boosh! With images and fonts. See my glow. These are more things I did. Boundaries. Important things I wrote in big, giant font. You can see the glow I've did on this one. So this journal is your journal. You can do whatever you want. No one's going to see it unless you want to share it. And so I'm encouraging you to try something new, try something different, and have some fun. So these are the basics, you know, and you can work with whatever materials you have. Now, I would know that some of you have been doing art drawing for a bit, and Kat, she's actually developed something called Cosmic Smashbooking, and she's going to talk a little bit about that. Oops, excuse me, don't look at that. She's going to talk a little bit about that, and so you get some other ideas of how you can continue using art journaling, but kind of in a different way. So to check out and see what she's got some amazing things. So Kat, take it away. Art Journaling 2.0.
Well, hi there. There's a couple of things that I want to add. That was really fabulous what you shared. A couple of things are going through my mind before I actually show you some journals and give you some idea of journals. And that is, I love what you said about being a container, a vehicle, a way to capture what you're learning and the importance of it, of capturing that information, because sometimes, I don't know about you, but sometimes it takes me a while to lay things down, put things down before I actually see that it's repeating itself and it's trying to tell me something. So for instance, as an example, owl eyes could start showing up, and I'm like, why? You know, why? Really? What does that mean? And so through this process of doing the journals, it allows you to, you know, capture that information in a way so that you can start to see, you know, your own symbols. Also about setting intention, this container allows you to capture, gather, find, and be, you know, healed by what you're learning around the intention that you're setting for yourself. And the intention may be relaxing. It may be, you know, something as wonderful as that, to maybe finding out why you need to, or why you're continue to do things a certain way. So I'm a huge proponent for art journaling, because there is one rule, really, there's one rule to art journaling. And that rule is there are no rules. And when you question if there's a rule, then address rule number one. There are no rules. This is one place that you can go to and just have at it and do anything to these pages that are in your journal that, you know, that you want to do, or that you need to do, or that you feel like doing. So it's play. It's all about play. And sometimes it's not about play because you're really upset about something, but still go to the journal in which to do that. So with that being said, let me just give you some ideas on, now these are Cosmic Smash books, and what that means is that each book has been created bringing in all the senses, which I suggest that you do that as well, because one of the major issues for me, of course, is to include, I have books everywhere to show you, which is to include, of course, candy. I mean, I got to have chocolate or something tasty to bring into my books and into the journal. And I suggest the same for you too. And I'll find a sample of how I put the candy in there, because I recently, here's one. So I just eat candy that has a wrapper. and then I go ahead and put that in. So the idea is to bring in all your senses: taste, smell, add fragrances to your book, whatever suits for you is another way of doing it. And then in terms of covering, I cover my book. They all are very different because each one has a different intent, and therefore I'm going to be, get something different from it. And as you had mentioned also, sometimes you start out with a cover, but you don't really know where it's going to go. Like, I love this one, and this is obviously for summer, but I really don't know where this is going to go just yet because my query around this book is so big that eventually it will get, narrowed down, which is how this book came about. This is a book that I did on remothering and finding myself. It didn't have a cover, but when I was all done, I knew it had to be one of my baby pictures, because really that's what was happening as, was raising the baby. Now, inside these books, I also suggest that you build a pocket so that when you're going around during your day, you've got a little pocket inside here that you can store things in if you're not going to use them, or if you're gathering. So example, here's a typical day. Typical day is I've written something in my book, might just look like that, or I have other examples of where I just wrote things, where I've written some things. I've attended the session for that day that is part of the retreat. I have written some things about that. Then I go around during the day with whatever it was that I was learning, and I might have dinner with someone that, in a Chinese restaurant, to get a little, information that comes to me about that. I might also, somebody might say something, somebody might hand me something. And so you might not know what to do with it yet, but when you have pockets inside here, you just go ahead and put your, put what you gather inside. So
can you hold that pocket up so we can see it? Is that like paper that you use? What did you do for a pocket?
Yes. Well, this one here is kind of interesting because it has two pockets. I just noticed that. Here was somebody gave me a bag, so I just glued that here. And then on this pocket here, the way that you do that is you cut down the side. You cut down the side here, fold it over, and then you just glue it down or use tape. I got this idea from one of our sisters from Jennifer Joy. Got this idea. So I'm always making pockets inside of them now for that very reason, just to save things. In terms of no rules, for instance, I also, people will give me something else and I'll create a pocket out of it. And I've got pockets everywhere. There'll be things stuck in my book because I went somewhere and it was actually fall, which we don't have a whole lot of where I live. And so, but that told me something. When I go to look at the page, in the case of what we're doing with the retreats, this might inform me that I really need to, while I enjoy a summer retreat, maybe what I need to look at also is a fall retreat. I mean, something like that might start to show up. Because in this retreat space that you're in, within the container that you're in, you came for a reason. As she said, you came for a reason, and maybe you don't know the reason. Maybe you just know it's absolutely right. Something talks to you, and you just know this is where you need to be. By working in your journal, you start to find out why you're here. Maybe it's community. It could be a lot of things. Community, figuring out how to live authentically in your life, claiming, grieving, overcoming grief. I mean, it could be a variety of things, right? So in starting your books, you might take, this is a particular artist that I love, Meinrad Craighead. So my early books covers were taken from artists that I really admire. George O'Keeffe. I've got one here that I love with, from Shiloh, who you've heard us talk about. That this was an appropriate beginning for me. This particular kind of journal, and this is kind of the journal I suspect that you'll be working in. And I like this size because it fits inside a purse. I can carry it with me. The way the journals are done, you could pick up my journals and not really know what they're about because the way in which we do them, and you might, some of the pages. But so in terms of how they look, you might have writing on them. You might get handouts. I put everything in here because what happens for me many times is the retreat's over. It's been wonderful. it's now fall. I know there's something that I learned there, or maybe it's now into December, but there was something that I learned, but I can't exactly remember. By having the journal to go back to, it's like, aha, I'm able to capture that information plus other information and have it inform me, and hence, be healed through your own internal, information. This is a book that I used. It became a form of a travel journal. I spent a month in Scotland. It was a gift to myself. And so my pockets came from travel thing. Here's some things that I got from this particular place. I picked up some things that, how can you not love a hairy coo, just to see a hairy coo, and I don't get to see him. But all along in here, you'll see that I've gathered things that as I went along, or I made photos as people that I met along the way that really had a major impact on me. You can collect that. And again, when you're inside the retreat and you stepped into it, you're here for a reason. Something is speaking to you, and these little details mean a lot. And like in this example here, just to give you a quick example, in this one here, I was dealing with, or asking the question about who are my ancients? And this woman showed up with a fiery Highlander spirit and reminded me that, that we don't lose it. The other thing I will do is on the road is I will also put in my receipts. Why? Because I can write down things that I've learned while at that place, people I've met, photographs I've taken. I do a lot of collage. I was sitting in the airplane and I pick out pictures, and I just put the pictures down in here as a because there's nothing like coming to a white page. And so, look.
So I just want to talk on that for a moment. So what you do is that you will actually go through, you might have some things that you've pulled from a magazine, and you're like, oh, I'm just going to stick it in my journal. And then when you come to that page, it's like there's something already there waiting for you. Yeah.
Exactly. So I did this little picture. It's on a thing. I just threw it in there. I didn't have any writing at the time. Right. And then a little girl made me something that day, which I can't even begin to do something as like that. And so there was a pocket for it that I wasn't expecting. I found this somewhere and I just put it on a blank page, puts here on a blank page, and so on. And of course, when I come, they're there for a reason. Obviously, there was something I liked. Maybe it was beauty. Maybe it was telling me to look at something. This man became famous for creating the I Love New York, the I Heart New York. And it just was interesting that he came to it when he was older, and, and then doodling, talk about places that you'll never visit. That was just a great quick query. So as you can see, as you're moving along and doing the journal, it's about being mindful and keeping your, so for covers, you can make them with crayons. This was made with just regular white paper, with crayons, and just, play, because it's just paper. I could end up collaging over this through the rest of it just giving me a background, because things change. Just to give you some other idea of covers, I love this technique. This is a very simple technique of just taking color and using plaster of Paris, because I love 3D. I don't know if you can see how 3D it is. I too have some journals that I covered with the Mod Podge sparkles, and I love them, but they don't photograph well at all. Here is a very magical book. These are the things that I'm working on, about that I'm letting go, is on the backside, and things I need to concentrate on. And, things like self-hate. What does that look like? So these particular books, there's a collage. Collages are wonderful. Okay, I want to talk about collage for a second. People believe that I can't be an artist if I do collage, or collage is the easy way. I'm here to share with you that collage is the quickest, the fastest way to get information to inform yourself around anything that you're doing, and particularly around these retreats, is to sit down with a magazine, just pull out what talks to you, and then just put it down, play with them. I call it rehearsing. Like, I move things around on a page, and when it feels right, put it in, and then take a step back and look at it. Now, sometimes I can't read my own collages. So this is where the Facebook page can come in, within the group can come in and be very helpful.
I want to say, I want you all to notice that Kat is using both sides, the spread, both sides. The whole page is one thing. It's not like just one side and the other. But she's going right through the middle, right through the.
I'm glad you brought that up because, as you had mentioned, even when I write, my writing is always across a page. Here's one. It's always going from right to left, right to left. And the reason for that, of course, is, as you mentioned, it's about crossing the hemisphere of the brain. There's something that happens when we do that. I understand that it's a scientific reason for doing it. What I really know is how it works for me when I cross these, you know, to cross. So I highly suggest that you do that too, which means getting a book where you can do that. Now you might write across it, and do the drawing. But even when I do the painting, even when I, as Amber has shown, even when I do those, I still make sure that I cross the page with my symbols, because there's just something about that. So other ways in which you can make covers is, you know, that beautiful paper that we all see in our supply stores like Michael's and wherever you might have something like that. They have beautiful paper. You can use that paper too to cover your book. I just loved this one. It was during the holiday season. I wondered what happened to that. The other thing you can use as a tool are credit cards. These are wonderful painting tools for scraping. And I wondered where this guy went off to. So
Hilarious.
Yeah. So those are just some ideas of some of the books that I have here and ways to do it. I start with a composition book. I happen to find some composition books that are blank. You can find them. They're a bit pricey. I buy them by the case because I use so many, but I really like those. And then the other thing that I also do is I do have regular journals, and these are more for my fine artwork that I'm doing. So I will take and reuse. I used to think also, I know that some of us have done this, if I reuse my art, then it's not original. Oh my gosh. What did I say in the beginning of this? There are no rules. Reuse it. If you feel the need to reuse it is trying to tell you something. So reuse it until you get the message, till you get the information. And I think that's about it.
That's
so
awesome.
I want to finish by just saying there's no rules. There are no rules. If you say, gee, I wonder what happened if I try this, that's exactly what you want to be doing. So I wish you all the best. Look forward to seeing you during your adventure of the retreat. And, you know, smash on, as I say, art on.
Art on. So ladies, we would love for you to, you know, take time right now, or there's actually time before, depends on when you're joining us, but time before that we start, for you to create your cover for your journal. And I would love for you to, you can see there's a link below into our Women Unleashed Facebook group, to post in there images of your journal. Like, what are you doing? What are you experimenting with? If you're brave, we hope that you are, come share, because I cannot wait to see what you're cooking up. And yeah, so we can see what creative things are we unleashing in you, yeah? And then I know also, because Kat, you do a special process with people too, as far as with Cosmic Smash booking. You touched on it briefly. You said, you know, talked about people, if they get triggered, you know, you might be doing something, you might be reminded of something, or you might be upset, and it's like what to do with those emotions in the time. And so Kat has a process that I know that she wants to share, that you can share with us. So Kat, can you share a little bit about that?
Sure. I sure can. I just wanted to quickly find a page. What I call, these are called resting pages. And what that means is, you know how sometimes you're working along and you're dealing with an issue and all of a sudden something gets triggered, like anger or rage or grief, or, you know, an emotion that's really challenging, but you still have to go pick up the kids. You still have to make dinner. You still have to move through life, and you don't want to lash out at the kids. You don't want to do, you know, you don't want to create a challenge because you've been set off by something. So what a resting page does is allows you to rest the emotions long enough for you to go do the things that you need to do, start to be informed, move the energy around what it is that you're feeling, and then go move through the day in a safe way for yourself and for your family, whoever is around you, when you have these issues, and still be informed as you're moving around and be able to come back to that page. So that's what I have for you.
Awesome. So what you can do is you can click on the link right below, and that will take you to Kat's website, and you can go ahead and put in your information. You'll get a video from you, right, Kat? That actually tells you exactly how to do it, how to create your parking page, so that, you know what I love about this? I love that you brought this up, Kat, is that piece about being able to deeply tune in to what's going on without stuffing things, and without lashing out. There's this place where we don't have to mash it. We don't have to like throw it on other people. And this is a beautiful way to do that. So thank you, Kat, for sharing that. I really appreciate it. And thank you, ladies, so much. We'll be seeing you during the retreat. Kat, once again, thank you. And catch you later. See you in the Facebook group. Bye now.